Okay, here's an article from John Hollinger that I saw has thrown some Mavs fans in a bit of a loop here. Has really kind of caused mass hysteria at times on the timeline. John Hollinger is, huge analytics guy. Created the PER, right? The advanced metric everyone loves. PER short for perfect because it is such a perfect advanced metric, right? Everyone loves when PER gets brought into the conversation. He made that. He made that advanced stat. Big time advanced stat guy. I mean, he's won awards. He worked for the Grizzlies front. He was like the president of basketball operations or whatever it was for like 7 years. Long time. Respected in the industry. He's got a new stat, board $sign. Board $sign. There you go. Using my board dollar valuations to help develop an idea of what these players are worth. So he's done this for the free agents this offseason. And let me tell you really quick, but if you haven't seen this or heard of it, let me tell you right now. What he says Brunson is worth will shock you. Now, let me just say before we go any further, all right, first and foremost, this Wednesday, I'll be going live on this channel, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to do a big offseason stream, look at all these different players, all these different targets I want the Mavs to go after, okay? Keep that in the back of your mind. But secondly, right, every single team in the league, I know there are a lot of people who hate advanced stats. Every single team in the league has an analytical department that does shit similar to this, where they sit down, they look at players, they look at what they bring to the table, they look at their age, look at their versatility, they look at all of this, and they determine a dollar amount, a dollar figure amount that makes sense for a player for what they are worth. That doesn't mean that's what they are getting though. That doesn't mean that's what they're getting. All right, the market ultimately dictates value. You can sit here and say Kyrie Irving is worth $48 million, but the reality is if the most he gets is $35 million, then he's worth $35 million. All right, so just because analytics say one thing, keep in mind, the market will always drive the price. Keep that in mind when you see this. Jalen Brunson, nearly $30 million. All right, Jalen Brunson, $30 million. Now listen, I love Jalen Brunson to death. I love Jalen Brunson to death. $30 million is incredibly steep. That's incredibly steep. And yes, the Mavs are in this fucked up position where they don't have much flexibility. If they let Jalen Brunson walk and they let him walk for next to nothing, then they're going to be in some trouble. I wouldn't say that they're going to punt next season, but they're going to be noticeably worse unless a miracle happens and they draft like an all-star player immediately at 26, which isn't happening, or some player decides, you know what? I've always wanted to play in Dallas. This player who doesn't exist. I always want to play in Dallas. So you know what? I'm going to take a huge discount and come and play there. So the Mavs really can't afford to let Jalen Brunson walk because our only other ball handler will be Spencer Dinwiddie. And the Mavs struggled at times with two ball handlers when it was Luka and Jalen Brunson. And Jalen Brunson is better than Spencer Dinwiddie. So that would be a nightmare scenario for the Mavs. It absolutely would. We would noticeably get worse. The Mavs as a team would get much, much worse. But $30 million is a lot. And you keep in mind, as I said earlier, the market is what dictates this. Let's just go look. Spotrac is not perfect because teams can move money around. Teams can move money around easily. So if a team decides, hey, we want to give Jalen Brunson $30 million, there are ways they can do it. How do we go to team salary caps, right? Is this just what it is? Let's just see who has money to spend. Cap space, projected practical cap space. The Magic have $27 million. Do they need Jalen Brunson? No, they don't need Jalen Brunson. The Pistons have $27 million. That's a scary team. That's a team that is a little alarming. That they could use another guard that can, have them do interesting things with Cade Cunningham. A little bit shocking there, but they have what pick do they have in the draft? I mean, there's a chance that they get Jaden Ivey, right? That's what I'm seeing, which would obviously eliminate the need for them to get a guy like Jalen Brunson. But still, that's an interesting name. Indiana Pacers. I'm not gonna lie, I could see it. I feel like I haven't heard too much rumblings there, but I could actually see a world where that makes sense, especially if they move on from Brogdon or something. Spurs, Trailblazers, and that's pretty much it. No one else has any real money. No one else has any real money to spend. And the team that we've heard the most rumors about, the Knicks, have really no money to spend at all. It would have to be a sign and trade, which from my understanding would be really, really hard to do. Like I saw somebody else, here it is. If you're wondering about the Knicks, for instance, they'd have to dangle a lot of not terribly desired filler in front of the Mavs to get a deal done. Exactly. So would I pay Jalen Brunson $30 million? Personally, if a team offers him $30 million, I don't know if you can do that. That's such a fucking high price tag. That's a lot of money. Like $24 million, that's a fine contract. And I'm 100% cool with $24 million. Regardless, you match whatever Detroit want to give Brunson and then do a sign and trade if it's a crazy high price for Brunson. But what if the Pistons move salary and they don't need to do a sign and trade? That's the nightmare scenario. A team like the Pistons decides, you know what? Jalen Brunson is the piece we need. We're moving on from Jeremy Grant or something. We're not getting a lot of money in return. So we got money to spend. We got money to spend. But ultimately, the more I think about it, if Brunson came to the front office and said, listen, man, I'm getting offered $30 million a year. I will stay here for around that same amount, but you have to match it. I think I would do it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't envy the front office. Because let's take a gander over at available point guards. Who's available in the offseason as a point guard? All right, let's go to, what is it? Trackers. Free agent tracker. Let's just see. Let's see who's available point guards. Because keep in mind, if you lose Brunson in the offseason and don't get a point guard in return, you are fucked. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You are fucked. You're in the danger zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm officially putting
the Dallas Mavericks
into the danger zone.
That's right.
You know what that means. Call your
You're in legitimate trouble. Here's who's available. John Wall, assuming he is bought out. Oh boy, that's Kyrie Irving. Never gonna happen. Ricky Rubio would be kind of interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I don't know what he's going for. DeLon Wright. All right, we get a DeLon Wright reunion. Everybody knows DeLon Wright was a loved member of the Dallas Mavericks. Tyus Jones, never gonna happen. He's gonna get way more than the mid-level exemption. Patty Mills. I mean, Dennis Schroeder. Avery Bradley. I mean, look at these fucking names, guys. Oh, we can get Campazzo. I mean, look at these names. This is horrible. Here we go. We can get a Rondo reunion. Let's just let Brunson walk, and we'll just bring back Rondo and just hope for the best. I mean, look at these names. Holy shit, this is horrible. And it's very top heavy. Where's Brunson on this list, by the way? Do they have him as a shooting guard? We can use the taxpayer MLE to get Patty Mills or Dennis Schroeder. That's sickening. I'm sorry. Patty Mills is fine, but I don't know. Did you really feel that need for you? And I will say this. I don't understand a lot of the methodology here because here you go. You have Jalen Brunson, $30 million, right? Rubio, $15 million. I could see that. I highly doubt he's getting that from anyone. He'll probably get a mid-level exemption from someone. But I could see that. DeLon Wright, $14 mil? There's no way. There's no way DeLon Wright's making more than Tyus Jones. I mean, no way at all. And this was the one that shot. Anthony Simons, $11 million. This might be lower than some expect. Yeah. In 30 games as a starter, Simons averaged 22 points per game, 60% true shooting. Still pretty limited as a distributor. The game's about putting the ball in the basket, man. Like, I'm struggling to see a world where Anthony Simons is getting $1 million more than Eric Bledsoe on the open market. You know, if the Mavs lost Jalen Brunson and they brought in Anthony Simons in this bizarro world where he's making $11 million, hey, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Brunson's strong playoff run for the Mavs seemingly silenced some of the chatter that Dallas might be willing to let him walk. Yes, there was some chatter there. I think after the deadline, it was, I think, kind of set in stone that he was staying. That was my opinion. I feel like the front office knew we can't let Jalen Brunson walk for nothing. I think the moment he was on the team past the deadline, pretty much said, hey, he's staying. That's just my opinion on the matter. Now it seems like any serious another team could get him for well below the max. Now it seems like any serious offer would have to be at least $100 million over the next 4 years. That seems about right. $25 million a year. I would pay Brunson $25 million a year and not even think twice about it. I mentioned this. I mentioned this on Twitter. Look around the league at guys who are making around $25 million. Not just $25 million, but 20, 22, 23, $24 million. Because people are like, oh my God, Jalen Brunson's not a number two. Jalen Brunson doesn't deserve that money. Listen, man, number twos are not getting $20 million a year. There is no planet where number 2s are getting $20 million a year. Let's just look at some of the average contracts here. All right, and let's scroll all the way down, all the way down, all the way down to around the range that Jalen Brunson would be making. You got guys like Mike Conley. Is Jalen Brunson a better player currently than Mike Conley? Yes. Aaron Gordon? Yes. Mikal Bridges? Buddy Hield? Yes. Terry Rozier? Yes. Draymond? Yes. Jalen Brunson's a better fucking player than Draymond. Yes. John Collins? I would rather have Jalen Brunson. You see what I mean? Number 2s are up here making $30+ million a year. Drew Holiday's making $33 million a year. And he's like the number 3. Chris Middleton's making $35 million a year. Tobias Harris is the number 4. He's making $35 million a year. Anthony Davis is the number 2. He's making $37 million a year. Klay Thompson's the number 2. He's making $37 million a year. Russell Westbrook is the number 8. He's making $41 million a year. You see? Luka's going to be making $42 million a year. Oh, he deserves it, though. He deserves it. But you see what I'm getting at? $25 million for Jalen Brunson. I would do $30 million. It gets a little bit. It definitely is like, all right, that's a lot of money. $25 million, though. Easy.